for race day 2 of the Drone Champions League. Welcome, I'm Matt Andrews and we return to Lax in Switzerland for another battle. Our 7 professional drone racing teams lining up, and we have 2 matches taking part for you today. First up, we're going to see the battle between our American team, Cyclone Racing, who won Split 1 and Split 2 so far. They're here with Yayu, Neon, J-Box and Raspberry, and they're up against the old school American team of Quad Force 1. But as you can see, Propsicle, Hyper and QT FPV are here. Sadly, Shane, who was going to take part, isn't racing. Spain Drone Team, SDT, they're going to be coming up in matchup 2. Sali 1 with Red Sheep, Silvio and Clone number 1. A couple of changes there since race day 1, and they're coming up against our wildcard team. This is Flowchelly, West FPV, Chugakva and Bambi. Every season we give some new pilots a chance to show what they can do. After race day 1, you can see Spain Drone Team were out in front, whereas the wildcard team haven't raced yet, they were on a bye week. Cyclone and Quad Force 1, they're side by side in 2nd and 3rd, and the matches are going to take place over 3 races. 2 pilots from one team against 2 from the other, then the other 2 pilots on each team race, and then everybody races in the DCL Big Heat. 4 points for a win, 3 for 2nd, 2 for 3rd, 1 point for 4th place. You don't get anything else if you're lower than that in the Big Heat. After the 3 races are flown, it's 3 points to the winning team, 1 point if it's a draw, and nobody wants 0. The track we're going to race around today is another revisit to Relax, Don't Do It, my favourite name of our tracks. It starts off in this half pipe in this beautiful 3D rendition of the actual snowboarding park in Lax, 2,252 metres above sea level. We raced here at the start of our 2019 season. This is the Galaxy building. We go around over the top of it before diving down to the courtyard. That's where our start was back all those years ago, and where we embedded a drone into the wall, but the owner asked us to leave it there, so if you ever visit Lax, you'll be able to find it. This is a corkscrew around the Foxeer Gate, split S here through the top and out through the bottom, then through the bottom of this side and ladder up to come out of the top of what we call the waffle. Down towards the arches, watch out for that snowblower, we've had a few pilots crash into it. Now we head back to another half pipe here, straight gate, then a split S through the top and back through the bottom the other way. A ladder here, so through the bottom, left and then through the top in the same direction as you did the bottom. Another split S here, over the top and back through it. And then we have this open section, chances for pilots to take different lines to try and find different amounts of speed. Dive down here, watch out for the arches and the changing height of the ground before you go around again. 3 laps is what we've got. Time to go racing. Let's get this, everybody. Race day 2, starting off with Cyclone against Quad Force 1, Yayu and Neon against QT FPV all on his own. So a lot for him to do here, even, to be fair, if he had a teammate with him, as Cyclone have won both of Split 1 and Split 2 so far. And Quad Force 1 have had a little bit of a struggle throughout this year. Their best moments were at the end of the 2023 season when they were 1 race short of being the world champions. But Cyclone have started well this year and have been dominating in Split 1 and Split 2. You can see QT FPV 2 seconds behind already, but we've got a really tight battle between Yayu and his teammate Neon. There's the split S. Now we will ladder up left hand and up to the top. Another split S as we finish with the half pipe. And this is Neon's view of his teammate Yayu, just a little bit ahead of him, about a quarter of a second between the 2 of these. Big left hand turn to go on to the start of lap number 2. QT FPV not gaining on them, not slipping too far behind. However, Yayu getting away from Neon, as you can see there, just a bit quicker into the turns in the half pipe. Neon struggling a little bit. Lost another second on Yayu, but QT FPV has lost more time as well, so that 2nd place was getting a little bit closer to him, but this race is absolutely stretched now. Watch Yayu with the waffle, no problem there. Now he'll disappear down under the snowblower and make his way towards our 2nd time into the half pipe. This is Neon, now 2.7 seconds behind. No problem with the ladder. No problem with that split S either, and we know how fast Neon can be, but we have seen this from Yayu as well, as he takes an incredibly direct run. Back to start, lap number 3. Neon trying to stay with him, but that gap's a little bit bigger than it was. And yes, Yayu finds a way. No matter how cleanly someone is flying, and look at Neon there, he's barely leaving himself any room at all as he goes down the half pipe. No matter how much you attack some things, Neon still has a lot to do to catch Yayu. There's some great flying again through the waffle. It's just so neat and tidy, isn't it? QTFPV is well behind, sadly. Neon just going over the blower and through that little bit of snow. Now he'll come for the first of the split S's. Here's the ladder up left hand, then the second of the split S's to finish there. Meanwhile, Yayu is out, down and into the finish for his first win of the day. Neon comes in second. QTFPV 10 seconds behind, or maybe a little less by the time he finishes. So a better finish, but still a big gap between him and Neon, and a decent gap between Neon and his teammate Yayu. It's a 1 and 2 for Cyclone Racing. Yayu gets another win, and he's no stranger to those. Yeah, it's nice and tight between the two pilots from Cyclone at the beginning, but then QTFPV finds them just getting away from him constantly, and Neon found himself in a similar position no matter how well he was flying here. First win of the day goes to Yayu. They'll take that race 7 points to 2. Now Raspberry and J-Box will try and follow that up, but here come the big guns of Quad Force 1. Hyper and Propsicle, usually the winners of the races if there is a blue drone in front. And Hyper in particular would have many more wins on his record if it wasn't for the fact that Propsicle wins almost every race he's in. But when Propsicle isn't there, it's usually Hyper who's picking up the points for Quad Force 1. And Hyper's still ahead of Prop here. Now they're going to the corkscrew and it's still nice and tight. Raspberry and J-Box within a second of the lead, so all four pilots attacking now down towards the corkscrew, but it's come a little undone for J-Box. You can see he's lost a bit of time there. Oh, and is almost down hard into the snow. Raspberry, though, is keeping the challenge alive for the purple team. He is fighting to stay with Propsicle and Hyper. That is no small challenge. Here's Propsicle starting lap number 2 behind his teammate. Now they'll swing for these pairs of A to RL gates. There's the second, there's the third. Quick route up and down the sides of the half pipe, and Hyper still in front of him as they head to the Galaxy building. Raspberry still in the challenge, but no, crashes at the top of the Galaxy building on the split S over the roof. And he is over a second behind now. We saw he was capable of keeping up with the Americans. Now he's going to have to fly faster than them to catch them back up again, and Propsicle is giving him a chance. There on the snowblower turn, Propsicle lost some time. Hyper, as I said, when it's not Propsicle in the lead, it's this man, Mason, racing for Quad Force 1. So Propsicle can feel confident that Quad Force 1 are looking like they're going to get a 1-2 here, but he loves to get that first place himself, and he almost always does. Hyper swings through the half pipe, leaving a trail that Propsicle and Raspberry are trying to hang on to. Hyper now to the roof. This is where we lost Raspberry on the previous turn. They're both through it okay, and so is Raspberry this time. Propsicle here still in second, following Hyper into the corkscrew. The Foxeer gate's no problem for them on the waffle. Oh, nearly wiped Hyper out. But he's still there. Propsicle's got a little bit closer to him. Raspberry, unfortunately, isn't making a dent in this lead that they have. 2 to 3 seconds between Quad Force 1 and Cyclone Racing. They'll be thrilled to get a win over the purple team here, and there it comes. Hyper and Propsicle, just about a quarter of a second between the two of them, then Raspberry over a second behind, and J-Box, unlike him, to be so far behind in 4th. That's a 7 points to 3 turnaround for Quad Force 1, thanks to this man and Propsicle, and they needed that after losing the first one 7 points to 2. All four pilots got off to such a great start and were contesting the lead through these A to RL gates, and then Hyper just manages to stay ahead of Propsicle. And here in the waffle, it looked like Propsicle was doing one of his usual charges, but wham into the blower, and that brought him to a temporary halt. As you can see though, definitely quick at getting underway as usual. Hyper nearly got wiped out on the waffle, still managed to get to a win. What can he do with his 2 teammates against the 4 of Cyclone? They go into this just 1 point behind, so they can really turn this one around in the big heats, even though there are only 3 of them, and Propsicle is scrapping amongst Cyclone for that lead and trying to take the team to that important victory. QTFPV is flying well. Hyper this time is the slower of them and already lost some time, but the 3 in front, well, they're all purple, they're all Cyclone, and it's Neon, Yayu and Raspberry just air sharing and switching that lead around between them. Neon may have just clipped it as he was turning around and lost a little bit of room, but QT and Hyper have had worse problems and have fallen some way behind. It is, of course, the talisman of Quad Force 1, Propsicle, who we're racing with here. He's the only one of them right now in a scoring position at all, and it's obviously not as many as they want to get. He's up there challenging with Yayu, and we've enjoyed a battle between them many times, so watch this here as Yayu is so clean, but Propsicle is always deadly. Here he is now out of the slalom. 0.4 of a second between Yayu and him, and between Propsicle and the pilot behind. He's trying to turn on the inside of Yayu there as they went into the split S, and now he'll try and cut very tightly around the corkscrew, and he does. And look how close he is to all parts of the waffle, and Neon is nevertheless getting past him. That's a shock to me. I bet it's a shock to Propsicle as well. Neon really getting into the groove of this track now. The S is split S, and he's still following Yayu, and it's 0.6 of a second between the two teammates. Propsicle not far behind Neon, but finding himself in third, whereas it looked like, if anything, he was going to be up there and challenging for that lead. Can he get through past Neon as they go round the half pipe for the third and final time here? Yes, he does. There's Propsicle swinging back across Neon, giving Neon the shock that Propsicle got earlier on. Now they'll turn, head down to this courtyard where we raced for real in 2019. This is where Neon caught Propsicle before. Prop doing well, Neon doing well too. Whatever it is they're managing to work out in this waffle, Propsicle comes out of it just ahead of Neon still. Neon not far behind, but both of them are some way behind Yayu. Neon goes right out of the ladder. Propsicle went left, which then turned into a long curving turn for him to the gate afterwards. It gave him more speed. That's got him ahead of Neon. There he is. And Hyper has fought with Raspberry and got himself back up into the points in fourth. It's all stripes. Cyclone, then Quad Force 1, purple, then blue, all the way down. And it's Yayu just ahead of Propsicle. And that gives him 3 wins out of 4 in this split so far. Now take a look as Hyper has hit that first gate in the corkscrew on lap number 1, which is why he was quite far behind early on. So it's impressive that he fought back up to get that 1 point for the team by coming in 4th. And look here, Propsicle and Neon, another example of them taking different routes and then converging together. And I have to say, well done to Quad Force 1 here. Although Cyclone have beaten them, in Split 2, Cyclone won by 21 points to 9. Here, it's 16 points to 13, and Quad Force 1 only had 3 pilots. Let's take a look at our second matchup for race day 2. It's the Spain drone team against the wildcard team. SDT against the wildcards, beginning with Sally 1 and Red Sheep against West and Chug Akva. Away we go in the first of this 3-race matchup. West FPV from the wildcard team just trying to take the lead as they go through these pairs of A or L gates, and he does so with both of the pilots from SDT right behind him, and Chug Akva is only a few thousandths away from them. West takes the turn over the roof, goes a higher route than everybody else. A little bit slower. Oh yes, a little bit of a hesitation in the middle of that. Has seen him go from the front to last. But he's just back up into third, now back up into second. They're all so close, everybody leaping around. The only one who seems fairly constant is Sally 1, who seems to like being at the front and intends to hang on to it. Red Sheep in second, and now things are starting to straighten out a little bit. Here's Red Sheep's view as he chases his teammates to start lap number 2. He's got Chug Akva and West not too far behind him. They are closer to him from behind than he is to Sally 1 out in front. So it's all clear air making his way up the mountain. Sally 1 through the top. And now heading down to the courtyard. Red Sheep still in second. A little bit more room between him and the 2 red pilots now. There's the Foxeer corkscrew, no problem. Split S one side, ladder up the other side of the waffle. Sally 1 is under the snowblower, so is Red Sheep. There's 1.3 seconds between the 2 pilots from SDT, and that might have got a bit bigger. And the red pilots are coming again. West FPV and Chug Akva have got Red Sheep in their sights, but he still can't see them in front of him. He carries on, he's still in second and is about to start lap number 3 in that follow-up position. Sally 1 over 2 seconds ahead of him in the pipe, all on his own. Red Sheep following him in there, and a lot of space for Red Sheep now. West and Chug Akva, what happened to them? They've lost so much time. Every time Red Sheep turns around now, he realises the red drones are not in close proximity. He gets a few opportunities on this track to see behind with all of the split S's and the ladders. You look where you've just come from, whereas there were red trails just very near you. Now, Red Sheep will see, for example, as he does the split S here, they are gone. Far, far behind. And Red Sheep now just needs to complete the rest of this and get the second place behind his teammate. A big gap between them in first and second. But it's not going to matter. Red Sheep celebrates. I love seeing him do that. West and Chug Akfa come home. It was much closer early on, but they end up quite a long time behind the two pilots of SDT. And Sally won. Well, that's 2 wins out of 3 for him. What a brilliant signing to SDT he is. Formerly a pilot with X-Blades Racing, helped them win the World Championship title at the end of 2023, and now he is here and scoring wins for SDT. And Red Sheep, what a great pilot he is too. Just 9 years old and deadly and fearless. And a 1-2 for SDT. Can Silvio and clone number 1 do that as well? It's Flocelli and Bambi who want to try and claw some points back for the wildcard team. Away we go. Silvio the first to turn. And he is so smooth. He's the captain of SDT. This is clone number 1. James Govey out of the UK, racing for SDT as well. And Bambi and Flocelli are already losing ground on this really experienced pair. And Silvio was the pilot of Split 2. He was the one who picked up the most points for his team. He'd love to get a win here, but as he turns under the arch, he's hit the arch and he's been passed by clone number 1 and Bambi, and Flocelli's also passed him as well. Silvio in a bit of a slow recovery, so Flocelli caught him and they're scrapping for 3rd and 4th now, and Silvio starts to get back into his rhythm. Bambi up into 2nd, trying to catch clone number 1. We head over now to the start of lap number 2. Here's Bambi in 2nd place for the wildcard team. Going through the pairs of gates, a little bit deep on some of these, can maybe tighten those turns. He's not going to catch clone number 1 quite like that, and Bambi's in real trouble and he's gone far, far off the track, as you can see just there. Clone number 1 weaving his way down to the courtyard and nobody else anywhere near him. Now his captain comes into the picture. Silvio, who's in 2nd, corkscrewing through the Foxear gates and following clone number 1 into the waffle. But Flocelli and Bambi are a very, very long way behind. What happened in the space of half a lap? Bambi's gone from challenging the 2nd to having a really high aerial look around the half pipe after bouncing off one of the gates. And now 20 seconds behind the lead. This race is all but over. 1 lap to go. Will it be clone number 1 or Silvio? Can Silvio catch him? You know what? I think he possibly can. He's definitely the smoother of the 2 pilots and a little more experienced as well. But clone number 1 stays in front to the Galaxy building. There's the split S over the roof. Here's the duck under the hurdle. Silvio's getting closer to clone number 1 all the time, and he's really good through split S turns and is passing clone number 1, just about keeping it alive. Completes the waffle, hits the top of it. It's gone through somehow. A bit of a lucky bounce there. Just clipping it as he was trying to make the turn, and he's under no pressure. He doesn't have to beat clone number 1, and yet you can see he just will not let a win go without really fighting for it, and Silvio has gone and taken it for himself. Clone number 1 in 2nd, and it's almost 30 seconds now for the 2 red drones. Far, far behind. Bambi in a contest for a while, and then a long way back, along with Flocelli. Silvio out in front. Clone number 1 might feel like that win deserved to be his, but no, your captain's not going to let you have it. You've got to go and take it and earn it. There's clone number 1 just passing Silvio, and if Silvio hadn't gone down then, I think Silvio may well have just stretched and stretched and stretched for the whole race, as he's done many times before, but you can see it's really untidy from him, and he clips it there too. That was the lucky bounce. Not his best run, but with that, he's got 2 wins out of 3. So has Sally won, as I mentioned earlier. So, will either of them make it 3 out of 4 in the big heat, or can the wildcard team put in a performance they can be a little prouder of? So, Chug Akfa's gone a little too deep on that one. Flocelli's gone underneath the A2RL gate. Clone number 1 hit it. So he's not in contention for the lead as he was in the previous race. Instead, Sally won, and Silvio and Red Sheep And then Bambi was briefly in 4th place, but clone number 1 has got back into the positions. And the Greens take all 4 of the places now. Bambi maybe can do something about clone number 1, but the other pilots there are going to be very hard to catch unless they have some problems. And as we've seen, actually, even somebody as experienced as Silvio, who's been the captain of STT for so many years, he isn't having the perfect run around here. Nevertheless, squeezing past Sully 1, you just saw as they go on to the next lap, side by side, 400ths of a second, now 200ths of a second between them. Sully 1 off of the ground. Oh, he's got a little bit confused about where he's got to fly. You need to make sure which gate you've been through and which one you have to come back for. So with that, he's given Silvio a 2.5 second gap away. Red Sheep is sometime behind Sully 1. Silvio is all over that split S. Real problems there. He's not under any tight challenge at the moment. Fortunately for him in STT, the only one who looks like they can stay with Silvio is Sully 1 at the moment. And of course, they're on the same team. Silvio, I've seen him fly waffles and ladders and split S's so many times, but he is rattling around a few of them here. There's his route down to start lap number 3. Sully 1 within a second of him. Here we go. Here's the chase on now. There's gates 3 and 4, 5 and 6. One more pair, 7 and 8. And then into the slalom, following Silvio as they go up to the roof. And Sully 1 has gained a little bit on him and will probably do so over the rooftop as well. Now they come down the other side and Silvio's got to tidy all these up. There's his corkscrew, and it's good for Silvio, and it's good for Sully 1 too. Sully 1 out of the waffle. Silvio still ahead of him. Red Sheep still in 3rd. Bambi's not the challenge now. It's West FPV up into the points, into 4th, as clone number 1 has slipped a couple of places. West FPV in a 1-point place might be all the wildcard team take from this. Although he's challenging Red Sheep for 3rd place. 1st and 2nd they are, of course, Silvio and Sully 1, and Red Sheep, is he going to hang on? He does by less than 200ths of a second. What a finish. West fighting until the end. Bambi in 5th. Then the other pilot of STT, that's clone number 1 in 6th, followed by Chugakfa and Flo Cherry. West will only get 1 point there. It was nearly 2. Either way, it's less than Silvio scored. And far too little too late to do anything about the outcome. So here, Chugakfa goes deep, Flocelli goes under, Clone hits it, West is okay until the gate afterwards, and then he hits that one. It's absolutely chaotic for a start around his half-pipe, and there's Sully 1 bouncing off of the ice when he really had nothing to be troubled by. He finished at speed, West just edged ahead of Red Sheep, but off that final turn, Red Sheep is so good. Oh, that finish is so tight. There they are, Spain drone team, the winners of our second matchup on race day 2. 23 points to 7. That 1 point for 4th place for West in the big heat is the only one that stopped it being a maximum win. Elsewhere, China Dragons went down hard to Raiden Racing, losing 8 points to 22, which means the standings now look like this. STT have extended their lead slightly with more heat points difference. Raiden have leapt up from 6th to 3rd, and China Dragons have had 2 heavy losses so far. So when we go to our new track in Alula in Saudi Arabia next time, they need a big win over Quad Force 1. I'm Matt Andrews. Thanks for watching the Drone Champions League. We will see you in the skies.